The moment the cameras flashed, he leaned into the microphone and delivered the sentence that sliced my world in half. As my first act as dean, I'm divorcing my wife. Gasps rippled across the ceremonial hall. My mother-in-law's shrill laugh echoed like broken glass. And through it all, I smiled.
Calm.
Almost serene. My name is Mariel Stone, 34, former faculty coordinator, and apparently, the woman my husband decided to sacrifice for his grand academic coronation. Adrian, my husband of 9 years, stood at that polished oak table, wearing his new dean's sash like a crown he didn't earn. He didn't even look at me. Not once. Only his mother, Loretta, locked eyes with me, gloating, triumphant, like she'd been waiting years for this moment. But here's the thing they didn't know. My silence wasn't shock. My smile wasn't heartbreak. It was the first spark of a fuse I had already lit. Because 2 nights earlier, while Adrian rehearsed a speech, I found something hidden, signed, and dated, that changed everything. Something that made his public betrayal look almost adorable. As Adrian raised the divorce papers toward me, expecting tears, I leaned forward and whispered, "Are you sure you want to do this?" His confident grin faltered.
Just slightly.
People like Adrian don't become monsters overnight. They decay slowly, polished on the outside, rotting underneath. And I had ignored that rot for years, telling myself marriage required patience, compromise, grace. What a fool I had been. Adrian's rise through the university wasn't talent. It was politics, charm, and a mother who pulled strings like a puppeteer. Loretta always saw me as a placeholder, someone temporary until Adrian married up. She never hid her disdain. "Mariel, dear, you should dress modestly. Dean's wives must look dignified," she would say, scanning me like mold on her curtains. But things shifted 3 months ago when Adrian began coming home late, smelling of expensive perfume he claimed belonged to donors. He guarded his phone so fiercely you'd think it contained nuclear codes. And yet, I stayed quiet, watching, learning, waiting. Then came the rehearsal night, the night that cracked everything open. He left his office, keys on the counter, drunk on ambition and arrogance. I drove to campus, unlocked his office, and found a locked drawer. The papers inside weren't love letters. They were far worse. Financial documents, hidden accounts, my forged signatures. He wasn't just leaving me, he was framing me. So I stood there, gripping the papers, the truth burning in my hands. And I knew then the divorce was only the beginning. The days leading up to the ceremony became a silent battlefield. Adrian moved around the house with the arrogance of a man who believed he had already won. Every time his phone buzzed, he smirked. Every time Loretta visited, she whispered behind doors, their voices sharp and hurried. I pretended not to notice. But inside, every detail sharpened into a weapon. The forged documents I found proved he had been funneling university grant money into a private investment under my name. If anything went wrong, I would be the one wearing handcuffs. Me, the woman who once managed his schedules, wrote his proposals, and supported him while he climbed. His betrayal wasn't emotional. It was calculated. One evening, I walked into the kitchen and found Adrian whispering into his phone. When he noticed me, he flinched. "You shouldn't sneak around," he snapped. I raised an eyebrow. "In my own home?" He swallowed hard, then forced a smile, too wide, too rehearsed. "Just don't cause drama at the ceremony. This promotion is important. Important enough to destroy me for?" The puzzle pieces clicked painfully into place. The late nights, the secrecy, the forged signatures, the sudden divorce announcement. He wanted me out of the way before the audit committee arrived next month. But he had no idea. I was already weeks ahead of him. The ceremony was supposed to be Adrian's triumph, his masterpiece of public glory. Instead, it became the stage for my humiliation. And he orchestrated every second with precision. Right after announcing the divorce, he gestured toward me with a fake sympathetic smile, as if he were the victim. "Mariel has personal issues," he told the crowd. "This decision is best for both of us." Whispers spread like wildfire. Phones lifted. Faces turned toward me, waiting for the meltdown he believed I would deliver. And then Loretta stepped closer, her voice loud enough for everyone in the front rows to hear. Well, she was never Dean's wife material anyway. Good riddance. Laughter, small at first, then bolder. A journalist snapped a photo of me. My calm face must have disappointed them. They wanted tears. They wanted spectacle. Adrian expected me to crumble, to beg, to break. But the humiliation only settled deeper into my bones, transforming into something sharper. Then came the real blow. He pushed the divorce papers toward me on the ceremonial table, right there in front of faculty, cameras, donors. Sign now, he whispered, and make this easy. My fingers rested on the pen. They thought they were ending me. They had no idea I had already begun rewriting the ending. I didn't sign the papers that day. I simply looked at Adrian, let my smile stretch slow and unsettling, and whispered, I'll think about it. The confusion on his face was priceless. He expected collapse. I gave him composure. That alone unnerved him. But behind that calm, a storm was forming, one built on truth, leverage, and precision. That night, I laid everything out on my living room floor. The forged documents, screenshots of his private account transfers, emails he thought he had deleted. Piece by piece, the full image emerged. Adrian had been embezzling university funds, routing them through accounts under my name so I'd take the fall if auditors found discrepancies. His plan was simple. Divorce me, let the scandal erupt, pretend he had no idea, and walk away clean. I stared at the evidence, my anger cooling into strategy. Revenge didn't mean destruction. It meant exposure. So I met with a lawyer, not for divorce, but for protection. I made copies of every incriminating document. I had them notarized, time-stamped, stored in multiple places. I contacted the internal audit team anonymously and requested a meeting. And then I crafted the final move. A move that required patience, timing, and the perfect audience. The Dean's fundraising gala was only 1 week away.
Perfect.
The night of the gala arrived wrapped in glitter and hypocrisy. Donors, faculty, journalists, everyone Adrian wanted to impress, filled the grand hall. Crystal chandeliers glowed above polished marble floors, and every detail screamed prestige. Perfect stage. Perfect witnesses. I entered in a simple black dress, nothing dramatic, nothing attention-seeking. But when Adrian saw me, he stiffened. You weren't invited, he muttered. I smiled. Funny. You once said this university was my second home. Loretta scoffed, clutching her pearl necklace. Don't cause trouble, Mariel. But trouble had already been delivered, quite literally. At 8:15 p.m., right as Adrian stepped onto the podium to begin his keynote speech, the double doors at the back swung open. 3 members of the university's internal audit team walked in, followed by the board chair. A hush fell over the room. Adrian faltered mid-sentence. What's this about? The board chair's voice echoed sharply. Mr. Stone, we need to discuss several financial irregularities connected to your office and your personal accounts. He turned ghost white. I watched him scan the room, searching for an escape, searching for a scapegoat, searching for me. But I only tilted my head and whispered, Smile, Adrian. Cameras are watching. Panic finally cracked his perfect facade. The audit team escorted Adrian into a side chamber, but the walls were thin, and the gala had gone silent. Everyone heard the muffled accusations, the frantic shuffle of papers, the rising pitch of his voice as he tried to redirect blame. 10 minutes later, the door burst open. Adrian stormed out, sweating, trembling, eyes darting wildly. This is a setup, he shouted. Mariel forged those documents. She's trying to ruin me. The board chair followed him out calmly. Mr. Stone, the signatures match your writing pattern, not hers. And the timestamps prove the transfers originated from your devices. Gasps rippled across the hall. Loretta rushed to his side, gripping his arm. Say something. Fix this. But Adrian froze, because then my lawyer stepped forward. Yes, she said loudly, holding a thick, bound folder, And here are the original documents my client secured weeks ago, including the email where Mr. Stone outlines his plan to shift financial liability onto her. Every head turned. Cameras clicked. Whispers swelled. Adrian's knees wobbled. You did this to me, he whispered, staring at me as if seeing me for the first time. No, I replied softly. You did this. I just stopped you from doing it to me. And that was the moment he understood. His downfall had only just begun. Adrian didn't leave the gala in triumph. He left in handcuffs. The police arrived after the board chair made the call, and the look on Adrian's face, equal parts disbelief and horror, was the final, poetic punctuation my story deserved. Loretta screamed, tried to block the officers, even accused me of ruining her son's future, but they moved her aside gently. Her power, just like his, evaporated under the weight of evidence. I watched quietly as they loaded him into the back of the patrol car. The same cameras that once celebrated him now captured his downfall. The same donors who toasted him earlier now whispered about his arrogance, his fraud, his lies. And me? I stood beneath the soft glow of the chandeliers, breathing for the first time in years. In the following days, the university froze Adrian's accounts, revoked his pending contract, and launched a full public investigation. My name was cleared, officially, loudly, permanently. I filed for divorce on my own terms. And this time, he was the one signing papers he didn't want to sign. The final twist? The board offered me a position, director of compliance. Someone who can see through deception, they said. I accepted. Because the truth is, they never expected me to fight. They never expected me to win. But I did. Beautifully.